The beginning of every One Shepherd semester starts with classroom learning of the individual. From basic warrior, advanced warrior, in this case we're learning the land navigation course. It was 2 days of just that, land navigation, from theory to practical application. Later on, land nav class people would be responsible for leading basic warrior students on their night missions and STX lanes.
Okay. So everybody sees we got a creek crossing the road to our south, which is lower than us. And we can look in where we see in the world, and you can kind of see a culvert down there, and it is lower than us to the south. This being north, naturally. Everybody see that? Mm-hmm. Makes sense how the world lines up with the map. Not so much the green parts, but the road and the contours. All makes sense.
Yeah. Even if you didn't have the road or the contours and you were on a perfectly level plot of ground, you'd still do this as the first step.
Right.
Anybody know why it's called orientation? Orient? Where it comes from?
Because you need to know, where orientation comes from.
Because we used to not orient to the north.
We used to not orient to the north. We used to orient to the Orient, which was the east for spice trade. Oh. So up on their maps was east towards the Orient. So when you orient your map, you face that towards the rising sun and go, we're going that way. So this, now we're just orienting our map to a better datum, which is magnetic. So anytime you plop down in the middle of the field in the woods, doesn't matter if you have nothing to terrain associate off of, you're always going to plop that down. Orient to the map, so stick your compass on your map, line everything up, and then you start working from there. If you don't, you're going to be messed up because you're going to be thinking, well, my map says that's north. No, that's north. Get out your compass. Don't do that. So.
So then now, one more quick. North is here.
Right. So now that compass is locked into whatever direction you want to
base of the one on the top.
Right. So see how when you hold it in front of you.
Oh, the long black one there?
Huh?
This one? This one's locked because you're walking.
As long as you keep north lined up with that, now this is lined up with your
That's what you mean, that long black one?
Correct.
Okay.
That's your direction of travel.
Okay.
Wow.
Exactly. So
ideally, if you walked
you
on
can
that
now
line,
put your thumb through that ring, and all you have to do is line up those two turreted files, and you'll walk to the bearing that you want.
Start turning.
Does that make sense?
Those two pretty
Okay.
little notches are going to
Right.
Everybody figured that out?
Basically, like keep that and just keep walking along.
Okay. So we're going to talk about how to terrain associate our way there. Okay, so everybody put your compasses away and don't move your maps. Get your maps oriented. So the last lane was primarily compass work, right? Now we're going to use the map and our brains to get us where we need to go. Okay. And our pace speeds. Okay? So this is where we want to start paying attention to the ground under our feet. Pang's team talked a little bit about looking at whether the ground should be going up or down or left or right as we're walking. And that's what we're going to pay attention for this next leg. So we know where we are, we know where we're going. Look at the contour lines if you need to draw a line or whatever you need to do to kind of help your brain graphically. But tell me what the ground should be doing as we walk from here to there.
Should be slightly sloped.
Sloping
Sloping which way?
to our right as we're walking.
So right is up or down?
Down.
Okay. Should we go up or down very much?
Nope.
Are we going to go up or down at all?
Negligible.
Negligible. So would you argue maybe down a little bit? What's our contour interval? 20 feet?
Yeah.
So down about 20 vertical feet and then back up about 40?
Yeah.
Because we'll cross one contour line going down and then up two, but not necessarily the full 20. Right? So again, negligible. But it's important because your feet will be able to detect that. Okay? All right. So what other things in the AO do we have that we can use to get to that peak?
The minefield can be a handrail on our left side.
So think about when you go up and down stairs or an escalator, you have that handrail to hold on to. If we keep the fence to our left, will we get there?
Yep. Pretty close.
So about how far off of the fence do we need to stay to hit that peak?
50.
50 meters.
50 meters. Yep. So can we see 50 meters?
Not
in the
in
woods?
some
Probably
of this
not.
diner.
But can we travel maybe 10 meters off of it, and then when we
Get to
wait,
the corner.
so
Yeah.
if we get to that corner, what will the slope of the land be doing?
It'll be going up.
Up to the right. So when we hit terrain, if we follow about 10 meters off that fence, we will hit terrain where it slopes up to the right for the very first time. And that's when we know we'll just make a right-hand turn and hit the peak and we'll be there. You guys understand how we're doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. This is my preferred way of orienteering or making
Your way back to the base, then you need to start. Okay? LNC guys, you still have your radios, right?
We do.
All operational.
Yeah, we do.
You're gonna need those. We'll be communicating with higher through this process. You have your SOIs, correct?
We do.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and keep using those SOIs to communicate with higher as well. All right, so you're gonna keep them apprised, keep higher apprised of our operations and our movements and where we're going.
Roger that.
Okay. Is there any questions so far?
I'll do enemy situation if you want.
Oh yeah, thank you. All right, so Op 4 will be in the area. Okay, we have reports that there will be Op 4. We don't know where, we don't know how many, we don't know what they're going to be armed with, but we do know that there will be enemy infantry that will be in that AO. Okay, but again, this is a clandestine mission, so we do not want to become decisively engaged. If we can complete our objectives by either bypassing or eluding the enemy, that would be preferable. Okay, but you are free to fire upon. Okay,
but only return fire.
only return fire. Yes.
That's your ROE.
That's your ROE.
Fire on the fire.
All right, you just saw the briefing for the night mission of the land nav course that was combined with the Warrior Basic course. Unfortunately, because it was at night, and even though we had great moonlight and it was practically like street lights out there, it was not good conditions for filming. So I'll just give a brief synopsis of what happened. I led the Alpha team. We hit all our waypoints, made all our observations. The only thing we could not do was achieve link up because we had an enemy force directly to our front, like 20 meters directly to our front. How they never found us, I do not know. That being the case, though, we could not get to our link-up point, and we're actually suppressed because of their presence. We were unable to move forward, backwards, or anything like that. Eventually, they moved on, but by that point, we had already decided to backtrack our way back to base. What happened is the other two teams, Bravo and Charlie, also were unable to achieve link-up. Due to various factors, mostly that being enemy contact and running out of time. So overall, it was a good night mission. It definitely taught night land nav skills. It was good in the fact that there was lots of illumination naturally from the moonlight. So the use of nods was not mandatory, although quite helpful. And that's basically what happened on that mission. Now we proceed on to what we did on day 2 in land navigation. All right. Day 2, One Shepherd land navigation course. We've got 8 points to find. We're stepping off to find point 1. Point 1 on this land navigation course proved to be an interesting exercise. We plotted it out on our map. We knew we had to go 800 meters to find this point. We plotted it out. We decided that we would go along the road and then cut in. And our reasoning behind that was twofold. The road offered easy travel, not going through fields that had waist-high hay in them. And 2, I was having a pretty severe hay fever attack, so not wandering through the hay was kind of a high priority for me. And somehow we made a miscalculation. We walked and got to the 600-meter point and decided, okay, we can see this is a good cut in, there's no fence, and we can see the point, so we'll go across 200 yards of field, we'll hit our range, and then it's got to be in that tree line there. Well, the fact was, somehow, even though my teammate and I were comparing our pace counts and coming up with basically the same answer, we were pretty off on our pace count. When we thought we were at the 600-meter mark, we were actually at 800 meters. We had found the correct tree line, but we thought it was the one beyond it. And we spent about 20 minutes casting about trying to find our error. And this is where you need to start trusting what your instruments are telling you versus your instinct, because we had very great confidence in our pace count. Both of us were coming up with fairly close numbers on our pace count. So we thought that was the spot on correct thing, and we're making all our decisions based on that. And the truth of the matter is, our pace count which turned out to be off. We're not sure why, but it did, because we had a visual reference that said, no, the tree line we're looking for should curve a little. That tree line curves a little, this one doesn't. Should have been a clue. And also, we didn't look at the map close enough, because we decided to check to make sure we're in the right place, because at the bottom of our tree line, the creek made a hard 90-degree turn. I'm like, okay, we're going to go down to the tree line, 90-degree turns there, we're in the right tree line. Well, the fact is that both tree lines have a hard 90-degree turn in the creek bed at the end of them. So we went down, found the creek bend, and went, oh, we must be in the right place. When in fact, we were not. The only thing that finally clued us in is we ran into another team who was going to that tree line saying, no, we're going to our point, and we're pretty sure of ourselves. So we said, okay, we'll go check the first tree line we should have stopped at, and sure enough, before we even got to it, we saw the point. So lesson learned: when you show up and you don't find what you're looking for, be open to what all your sources of data are telling you, not just one. You know, we put ultimate faith in our pace count and ignored what our eyes and our map, and at one point even what our backup GPS told us.
We have reached point 1 on the land navigation course on the second day of LNC.
The trip to point 2 was super easy. We plotted on the map. It was an area, in the area we had been the night before. We knew where it was supposed to be in the creek bed. We knew where the creek bed was from where we were at in the tree line, and we simply didn't even waste time shooting an azimuth or anything like that. We just terrain associated, got to the point where we were at, and then just started walking along the creek until we found the point. It was pretty straightforward. Matter of fact, we bumped into another team coming off that same point and just asked them, is it back there? And they were like, yeah, you're almost on top of it, and they were right. As soon as we walked past them, 10 more paces, boom, there was the point.
Okay, we have reached the second point on our land nav course here at the LNC at One Shepherd. We're halfway through the course. Doing okay on time. My teammate here, he's got our code, he's doing his SOI instructions, and he's going to call this into higher.
Hotel 22, Kilo 21, how copy? Over.
Alright, we have found our third out of 4 points on the LNC land nav course. John's going to go ahead here, code it, and send it. Alright, this point was a little hard. I think, just for the record, that in the dim light of the mess tent, we might have made a bearing measurement error.
It's possible.
The fact that we were so far to the left of where we should have been.
Roger that, yeah. We were just a little bit too far down into that saddle area, I think.
Yeah, because we came the right distance.
Right.
I'm confident in that.
Point 4 was an interesting point going from point 3. We went through a lot of dense brush, and there wasn't much open field, so lots of dead reckoning and pace counting on this one. And it's a good abject lesson here. We applied the lessons we learned from getting to point 1. So as we kept checking our pace counts and we kept checking our course, doing only short little legs for what we could visually reference dead reckoning in the thick woods, we came up on the point exactly. When I mean exactly, we walked straight to it. Like, we aimed at a tree and got around a bush to that tree, and boom, there it was. It was marked with the code and the tape. So we literally, over the space of 700 meters, walked straight to the point we were supposed to be in really hard, dense woods that left no distance of sight to you beyond a few tens of meters. So that was pretty good on us. The only thing that slightly tripped us up is, again, our pace count fooled us, because we knew we had to go 700 meters, and we had actually, by our pace count, gone a few steps over 6. Not sure why pace count has been so off in this exercise, and talk with the instructors, kind of got a head shrug as well, simply because I've known my pace count since the 1980s. It hasn't really varied. I check it every now and then under different conditions. All I add is the caveat is that when you check your pace count, it's exactly good for those exact conditions on that exact day at that exact time. There'll always be a variance. For some reason, this time around, I had a massive variance, and my teammate, for some reason, was encountering the exact same variance, because every time we checked each other, we were fairly close. So it's a lesson to be learned, something to always keep in mind, that don't put absolute faith in everything and have a way to check your progress.
Okay, we have reached our fourth and final point here on the One Shepherd Land Nav course. John here is going to encode that and send that in and inform them that we are RTB.
We hope you found this video about One Shepherd's land navigation course helpful and informative. An individual skill is always taking up the first 2 days of One Shepherd semester. The next part of a One Shepherd semester is the STX, or Situational Training Seminar. Please stay tuned, we'll have videos on that as well.